Uh, it's for certain. You won't go, really? Do it? Yes, you do. You do. This is my story. So going through lots of medical procedures, I'm just at an age and stage where they try to get everything ahead of time, right? It's preventative, but the preventative strategies are usually worse than the little eraser size basal cell thing that it was. Now I have 20 stitches in a leg. Yeah. And having to sort through that a little bit, right? So that's already the truth of vulnerability. Like they're going, we got to get it because you're getting older. And if we don't get it now, it could get worse. Well, it's guaranteed to get worse, I say. And they go, yeah, but our job is to try to get in front of it, get it sooner. Okay, so now we have all that. And I'm handling all that okay, right? The reality is I've trained for 30 years for this day. And I'm going, I don't have to like it. It's all right. It's just what it is. And I start bleeding in the middle of the night because I accidentally hit the thing. And right, it's just what it is. It's not special. There's nobody to whom this is not going to happen to in its way. And so I'm feeling pretty grounded. I don't have to like it. I recognize not liking as a preference. I don't have to try to pretend like I like it. That's ridiculous and a waste of time. It's certainly what I call the Zen bypass, right? To everything. It's a crock. It's a crock. Don't believe it and don't buy that. I get to feel how I feel about it. And there is the truth of a vulnerability involved, isn't there? So I get to be with that. But I'm sitting there with my leg elevated one more time for a couple more weeks. Yeah, Greg knows all about this. Greg and I are chuckling together. And I get a call from my husband. My husband says, I can't find your brother. He just flew to Chicago for our 50th high school reunion. Is there such a thing? And who goes? Who's alive? Really? Right? So he's going and I'm not going. And he goes, I can't find your brother. I've called him 1,000 times. I can't locate him. He's an hour and a half late. And I don't know what to do. And my first thought is something bad has happened. My brother's a little bit OCD. He's a little too punctual. He's always got his phone on for this kind of thing. He never forgets, right? That's that person, or at least by appearance. And so we start making calls. And now we've called his wife. No, he left 2.5 hours ago. Of course he would. He's not there. And now I get to watch what happens. And this is the practice. And then I feel the choke. And then I feel the sick stomach. And then I think, this too, right? There it is. Not just me, but those I love, those I care about, are vulnerable just like this. And instead of spinning the story, which is just endless, my mother's not going to live through this, is one of my thoughts. She is not going to survive this. And I go, wait a minute, just thinking, right? Just thinking. And what do you do? Is the question. And then what do you do? Just like we asked the koan last week, I'll ask it again. What is right practice right now? Write that in chat or come online and say it. People in the garden, what's right practice right now? Dennis, did you raise your hand?
I think it's holding yourself in space, like trying to be what did we say last week? Just in the bardo. I thought that was a really I know I've been trying to veer towards that lane all week, so I feel like I don't know what the word is for it, but maybe that's something.
Holding oneself in the groundlessness, in the bardo, in open space.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, you did it. How do you do it? How? Nice idea, though.
Recognize the story.
Recognize the story, Greg says.
Story.
As a story. Recognize the thought as the thought. It's not enough. Not true. It's a good start, though, because cognizing a truth is a part of the Dharma. What else is true? What else do we have to do? It's not sufficient. I'm dying will not be sufficient. No. You'll know, by the way. It's good news that you know.
I think recognizing how it's manifesting in the physical body and then providing some self-comfort in that moment because this is where you are.
Yes, Dia says, dropping beneath the storyline, getting right into the truth of the body, which cannot lie, and feel what you feel. And by the way, the neuroscience says, call it out by name. That there's actually only the witness, isn't this beautiful, can call it by name. You're not lost in it then. You're literally going, heart attack happening, choking throat happening, tight shoulders happening, pressured head happening, arising, and you stay in it. You don't judge it. Or you at least notice the judging. Like, this should go away. I don't even have, I did that a little, Charles. I did it because I went, now this is ridiculous. Because I don't know. I don't know anything. He could be having a cigarette somewhere. I don't know what he's doing. Maybe he stopped for a drink. I don't know. That's not his nature, but what do I know? But it's not helpful, is it? See, not useful to then condemn oneself for the directness of one's experience, is it? Not helpful. Why? You've just moved some distance from your real experience. And in the trainings, in the teachings, it says there is wisdom in the klesha. There is wisdom in seeing your strategies, isn't there? There is wisdom in recognizing not only your direct experience, but all the shenanigans that you're going to pull, judging, condemning, separating, disconnecting, distracting, entertaining, substance, whatever you're doing, right? All addictive, I might also add. And then what? So now I see it. There I am storytelling. There I am judging myself for the experience I am having. What else? We're not done yet. Now I've named it. I am bearing witness. I'm holding the truth as it is known by this body, mind. What's the last, most essential step? What do you do now? You feel for yourself, don't you? You feel for yourself. This is hard. This is difficult. This is painful. This is scary. Yes. And if you can't name that, you have not come home. Not yet. With all the good work of recognizing, accepting, inquiring, naming, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. But it's queuing you up for something most precious. And the queue up is for this thing we call self-compassion. Could I feel for myself? Number one. And then what's the second part? I comfort myself if I can. I wasn't noticing that there was any vibrating for 2.5 hours. If you can, you get home to yourself, you stay with yourself. We can do that little tapping that we know has a capacity to gently soothe the vagal bundle. Just do this. Right? Thich Nhat Hanh would say, darling, know that you are not alone in this, sweetheart. It's all right. Rick Hansen says it's all right now. Can I know that it's all right now? Exactly like this. Not one thing being different. Not one soothing thing working. Not one body ache having gone away. What is it? It's all right now. Exactly as I am. Why? Tight, hot, hard, choky. It's all right now. And how is it all right? Because I am here, right? I'm here with myself. And then the second factor is what? Once I'm all right, I'm here with myself. The second factor is, can I then even get bigger. What's the bigger? What's bigger than that?
Feel for the other.
To feel for all those just like me who feel this way too. All those who are choking, being afraid that their brother, something has happened to their brother. All those just like me. We're getting sick of being stitched up this week. All those just like me who hate all those healthcare, sweet, loving healthcare providers who are only doing their best work to provide for my well-being. Can I feel for myself and then all those just like me who feel this too? And that's why we repeat the phrases. This is the reason, because no matter what I felt, no matter what the reality of the body, no matter what the spin of the mind, I could fall right into those phrases. I could. And the phrases started to actually take hold. And then I could feel for everyone who was sitting there late at night thinking something bad had happened to someone they loved. And we're no longer contracted. We are truly wide open there, like the sky, boundless then is the language, right? Boundless like the sky in the truth of it. And so what gets in our way? And then we're going to practice it. What gets in the way? Sounded pretty simple. I named a couple steps.
Doing,
All that doing.
how to avoid it, right? What do we need to do in order to get it to go away? Who can we call? The list that we make. Get wrapped up in solving.
Yes, wrapped up in the strategies for what I could do. Do you know how many people I thought I could call as I sat there feeling that ache? About 100 million. I could call them, and then I could check this. There's got to be a way to call the police, see if there's, right? Doesn't mean the strategies are ultimately wrong or unskillful. They're not right first. They're not right first. They're wrong first, because that's me fixing. And fixing is one of the kleshas. No better or worse than freezing, fighting, or flighting. They're all strategies to get me away from this. I hear somebody coming on. Was he okay? That's what we all want to know. Don't we? We want the end of the story. We all want the resolution, don't we? We
I
all
definitely want
the
the end of the
resolution.
story.
We all want it. And we all want it to go well. That's why we can't stand certain kind of films, right? I go to Sundance frequently, and we sit in films that are from Japan and Korea, and right, and they never end well. They just fucking don't go. It's like, what happened? Where did he go? What if did they get together? They didn't get together. She walked away. What the, right? Who can stand the reality of this unresolvable, folks, unresolvable life? And it is never any other way.
We want happy ending.
We would like the happy ending. And in the West, we're, they're box office hits, folks. Aren't they? Aren't they all? The mind spinning. Yes, it is one of our favorite things. Now, let me ask one more question before we practice. What do you do when you can't stay in your own body? Because sometimes that's not actually workable, because the body's on fire. I mean that literally and otherwise. So you go, okay, she gave me the instruction. I recognize that there's distress. I acknowledge the truth of the distress, and I begin to turn the mind towards the body, and the mind's going, ain't no way, baby. Ain't no way I'm going there. Not happening, because every alarm in this thing is flying. We like to call that panic, don't we? The reality of panic. Now what do? There is still good work and good practice. What do we do now?
Breathe.
Breathe. If you can. They say after a 6.5 on the Richter, you ain't breathing nothing. There's nobody home after 6.5 on a 10-point scale to go, I think I'll breathe. I'll pause. I've heard her say those words. I'll pause and then I'll breathe. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're on fire. It's not, no, it's not even practical. Is it? The Dharma is ultimately very practical. It's a nice idea though. And don't do it to yourself, really, because that's bypassing anyway. Because that means I didn't really drop in on the fact that I'm on fire. I just went, it'll be all right. I think that's what they said to do, right? As your hair's going into cinder and your skin's falling off. And no. You have to recognize always number one, I'm on fire. That's helpful, isn't it? A little useful. I'm on fire. What's the next thing you could do? Going, I'm on fire. I can't be here because the turn towards is actually too big, too much. I'm in a tsunami. Chocolate. Strategy. Some strategy. It might work temporarily. But by the way, what do we know about the body? It holds it. It remembers, and it's going to play for you again, is the guarantee. So if you don't attend to that now, what you can count on is it's coming back to get you. I don't care where it landed in here. I don't care how deep it was. I don't care what kind of fat you put on it or clothing you throw over it, or right? It's not going anywhere, and it's guaranteed, we know in the neuroscience, to reappear. It's just being held in your little space, right? So it's not useful, though can be temporarily, like just for this, I can actually make that choice. The Buddha himself said, inattention is sometimes right strategy, but must be done with clear intention. Oh, isn't that interesting? Inattention, a real strategy, momentary, to get resourced, right? I don't want to leave myself strung out. Yeah, find a refuge, said Shar. Find a refuge. So this is what we know. The refuge. Oh, did you, Travis? Okay. Yeah, beautiful refuge in the birds. Travis just said part of what we know. He said, listening to the birds. The truth is, can I then, with intention, place attention out? I can't be here. I'm on fire. Can I, with intention, place attention out? And we call that name and describe. Everybody know the name and describe method? A tree that's about 4 feet tall. It has about 200 leaves. They look furry. It has a purple flower. They're cascading down instead of growing up. You go and go and go, and you stay and stay and stay. And you stay in that object until you wear it out. And guess what happens? Anybody know? What happens? You run out of words. Try it. We're going to do it. You'll just run out of words. And then there's simply abiding. Nothing more to say, nothing to think, no descriptors are coming to mind. I'm not trapped in the body. I'm just holding me and the object in vast, boundless open space. And then we can turn, usually, here. But it's okay. Not right now, right? Because I'm on fire. I'm going to go there first, anchor to something, stabilize and settle the mind. And then that mind I can invite. Right? You get what I'm saying? Back. Want to give it a try? Seem like a useful practice? Yeah, I think so. I did not do name and describe yesterday. I moved right into this is how I am. I could abide that. And could I then feel for myself? Yes, I could. And then I could open to all those sisters, all those mothers, all those fathers, all those lovers, all those children who feel scared and vulnerable, just like this. Right? And then there's no story of me. There is simply now the reality of us, isn't there? Now we're resting. The reality of us. We are vulnerable like this. And it's no value. There's no benefit. And there's certainly no care in denying it. Is there? Which is why I keep saying, yes, thank you for your care. I don't like this. I don't like this. And everybody laughs. Why? They know. They know too. And I'm very grateful for them and their care. It's extraordinary. And they do it every day, which is more incredible to me still. Right? You just eventually, wouldn't it be easy to go, come on, get over it? I'm cutting on people all day long. You're not the only one. And yet, with loving care and attention. So let's practice together. Sometimes action is the best path. Never first. Never. Sorry. Not the first thing. Not without knowing. Because actions without knowing are a little bit like a chicken with its head cut off. And with knowing, always then skillful. Always then a benefit, whatever that is, including running around like a chicken with your head cut off. Okay, so here we go. Let's see if we can't try some of these strategies and see how they work. Finding upright, dignified, human, right? We're here in this human body, this human mind. Let's be human. Then find the breath and take in a big, deep in breath, breathing it in. And then a big out. Settling in, feeling the effects of that. So we take 1 or 2 regular breaths, just seeing how we are. We're going to do it again. Big in breath. Big out. Take that off a little bit. Get rid of all that idea. Shed the concepts. Let go of the self you think you need to be, the one you think needs to sit a certain way, so that you can find your sitting posture for today. What is it? Holding oneself in care. This is one of the first instructions. Recognize the body as the body sitting here with kindness, with unconditional friendliness. We don't glue the mind to any object. It's a complete waste of time. Watch your strategy. That's what good meditators do. They try to get to the breath as fast as they can. Can you just recognize the truth of this body sitting here, breathing? And let it breathe the breath that breathes you. Jangled, jittery, restless, tired, regular, easeful, effortless, smooth, however it is. And see if you can make real, direct contact. And what I always notice when I'm really attending is that shaky tenderness. It's always right here, the truth of being alive. The preciousness, the vulnerability of it all. And no matter what we encounter, no matter what the sensations, no matter what the quality of breath, no matter what the busyness or the ease of mind, we stay. And so then we're going to find a spot within the breathscape where we can simply rest with each out breath. We're not even going to put the demand for the whole breath. And we ride the wave of the out breath and follow its instruction. Allowing the settling, the softening, the emptying, and the release. And rather than try to be different in some ridiculous way, we can simply recognize, bear witness, acknowledge whatever's arising here. And you may notice the natural arising of strategies because they're so well practiced. List making, judging, questioning, doubting, attaching. Oh, I want that other breath. That was nice. Aversion. I don't like this one. It was short and choppy. And as we recognize those qualities of body, mind, we simply name them and then follow the out breath. No matter what the sensations, no matter what the preferencing, reactive, habit natured mind, we simply recognize, acknowledge. We let be. And we release in the out breath. We're not trying to get rid of anything. We're just recognizing that this is one snapshot moment. We don't want to drag it into the next moment. And so, with acknowledgement, with recognition, with inquiry, we rest. We try to soften up a bit so that we can fully experience whatever's here. And then at the end of that out breath, rather than contracting, rather than gripping, rather than self-making, rather than storytelling, we open. That means we move from the still point at the end of the out breath out into vast open space. Whatever it is now being held by that which is boundless. The refuge of the breath, the refuge of the stillness at the end of the breath, opening into vast, boundless, all pervading, unshakable, imperturbable, boundless heart mind. And we rest there. And then we call the distressing moment to mind. I'm going to use the one from yesterday. This fear that something has happened to my brother. You can call yours to mind. And just feel the effects as we're cultivating that memory, that recollection. See if as you're writing the story, as you remember it, keep dropping beneath the storyline, out of the images, out of the narrative. Drop into the body, particularly the chest, the belly, the diaphragm. Beneath the storyline, beneath the words, and feel the effects. I've got a squeeze right there around the heart space. My breath is shallow. My jaws are clenched. It's helpful to call it out, not just in mind, but actually out loud when you're able to stay. But we don't let go of the instruction, which is, and then with recognition, we breathe out, we soften up the whole of the body mind. We touch into stillness at the end of the breath, and we open, holding that experience in that sky-like quality of mind. Tight chest, just like this. Held in vast open space. There's nothing to change or transform. We're not transcending. We're not trying to be some other way. Can I be with myself exactly as I am? This one breath. Can I stay with that shaky tenderness? We can place the hand near the heart. Remember that light tap as needed. This is not to make anything go away. This is to acknowledge the truth of this vulnerability, of this humanness, of this difficulty. Remembering that this is a part of the human condition. Allowing my experience as completely as I can. May I first feel for and attend to myself. Sweetheart, I am here. I will not abandon. I will stay on my own side. Exactly like this. We can offer that unconditional friendliness. We can offer the phrases, whichever ones are most workable for you. May I be free from this distress. May I be safe and well. May I remember the truth of this humanness. And may I feel for myself. Riding the wave of the out breath. And opening wide. Getting bigger. And then we can respond most skillfully. Most lovingly. And when the time is right, and there is no rightness, may I feel for all those just like me who are terrified of losing those they love. And I stay with myself in that vulnerability. And then, when right, open to include you. And then all those who know this too. Just breathing a few breaths, letting things be as they are, the body like this, thoughts like this. The heart like this. And then letting go of any of the storyline, really deeply diving into the reality of the body, resting somewhere once again in the breath and in the breath sensation. But breathe it big. Don't stay locked up in that breathscape. Really breathe out into open space. And then breathe that open space in. Resting the mind in the vast open space. Breathing into it and out from it, so that there is nothing more pervading than the open space. May we be filled with loving kindness. And may we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. And may we be happy. And may this practice this very day contribute. So be it. A benefit. Always. Always. And we have to practice so that it's available. Otherwise, in the moment of the tsunami, the distress, the fear, the pain, we cannot be available to ourselves. And it's not reasonable to think we should be. Because it wouldn't be reasonable. I heard
Anna?
somebody say something, yes?
So, so Israel's in war now today. Just broke out in a war. And, I did notice, the strategies that I assumed, checking exactly why it happened, what was the reason, how, just getting the facts. And I saw myself resisting, as most people were around me, going to worst case scenario. Um, I'm not really Israeli, so I mean, I live here and I am a citizen here, but I didn't grow up here, and I went through one war when my son got married. There was a war that broke out here at the wedding, but they're all remembering things, and and it's not currently it's not happening right in my area. I'm in the north, and it's happening in the south. Anyway, I'm just confused as to whether I should try to really get into my emotions around it. What I'm noticing I'm doing is not trying to go into what's happening tomorrow, and sort of staying aware of what's going on to some degree, for sure. You can't miss it. Everything's closed here. Everyone's in, even though it's not happening here, and the siren and the planes and all of that. But I'm wondering if I'm holding back my emotions, or if I'm taking care of myself properly. I've been watching that to see. Anyway, thought I'd bring it up. It seemed to be relevant.
Yes, of course.
And I'm alone in my house, which is okay, because probably better to just be with myself than other people's things. And I got robbed last night. So, I noticed that was a little more concerning to me, because it was so personal, of like, I better lock my door and blah, blah, blah. So, but I'm noticing that I'm not getting overtly emotional. So I'm just wondering if I'm not connecting, or if it's when I try to connect, it feels like I'm just okay with wherever it's going to be. But it doesn't sound when I'm saying that I'm really feeling my feelings, but that's just what's happening. I don't know. What do you think?
Mhm. I think those are all really relevant inquiries. And whenever I'm feeling all right, in the midst of trauma and tragedy and difficulty and fighting and conflict and fear, I think that's a right question, which is, am I, and not to say that it's wrong. Am I protecting myself?
Right.
And right. And how am I taking care of myself? And remember that concept we talked about, which is when things are too big, too much, too hard,
Right.
that we can honor the truth of it by saying, I will touch this the way I can in the moments I can. And for right now, it's like this.
Right. And also it's I'm hearing it. It's not in my face, really.
Right.
So it's almost like how people in any country know there's a war in another country. They're not necessarily experiencing it. They're just getting the concept of it.
That's
Here is
right.
the same country, but it's still no one around me
Remote.
it's not happening here. So
Right.
I'm just fearful of trying to make myself take in something that would be a harmful thing for me to do, and not just say, this is the moment now, and then tomorrow we'll see what's going to happen,
Yeah.
I don't
I
know,
am like
but
this right now, which is not feeling particular distress and feeling. Mary Oliver had a line from a poem that I liked, and it said something like this, and I'm paraphrasing because I'm not close to it, but she said something like, no greater disconnect than the news that comes from the other shore.
right, that something
Isn't
like
it?
that. It gives
No
you
greater
gives you an
disconnect.
opportunity, the distance.
Yeah, like it's over there. It's those people. It's not here. It's not me. It's not those I love. No greater disconnect
Right.
than the
And
news.
everyone checked
And
in.
sometimes there's, I guess, a purpose for the disconnect, I suppose.
If you do so mindfully, attentively, intentionally, but not so much if you do so habitually and you don't know
Right.
you're doing it, which is the one Leslie's checking in on skillfully. Am I
Yeah.
really okay? Or am I just plastering on okay because I have decided that is the distant shore and not relevant to me, not mine, not I. And we can't do that either because that's not getting bigger. That's getting way, way, way into me-ness. I'm good.
That's not exactly,
Yeah.
it wasn't exactly what I did, actually.
No, I'm not saying you are. I'm saying that those are habit natured. I'm in no way implying that that was you. I'm saying it can be our nature, the habit mind's nature, to do so. And the inquiry is skillful, isn't it?
But the inquiry was also, if you don't mind my continuing, the inquiry was like when I looked into why it happened, I came to that place of this was inevitable, and I knew this was going to happen. I watched things that were leading up to it, and when this happened, I went, okay, this is what was bound to happen. Not to say that it's still not horrific, but just from the bigger picture, I could see something, the political games that are at play, that help to create dramas. You were talking about the drama to start with. It's creating dramas, and it's real dramas, but they're created. It's
As
not
all
just by
traditions,
accident something
right?
happened.
as
You
all
know?
conditioned things.
Right.
And knowing that you're going to die does not provide much relief while you're dying. And recognizing the truth of that by itself is not sufficient, even when we recognize its causes,
Right.
which
Right.
is good, right? To recognize the cause of something, there's a skill in it as well. But I would not say that it will be ultimately sufficient, as we
Right.
talked about today. Will it? I see the 4,000 reasons that I'm dying. I'm just going to stay with that reality. Is it going to allow me to then be most open, most present, most compassionate? We have to be watchful that we don't then fall. And I'm not saying you are, Leslie, that we don't fall into explanation analysis rather than feel the truth of the feelings. But understanding causes is also right. But, it's just that watching. Am I going, well, of course, this, and I'm not saying you're doing that. I'm just saying watch for those qualities or see if it's a habit or if it's contributing something to your then being more present, more open, more available. This is
It's a strategy. I saw that. It was a
Yeah, might
strategy
be.
to understand.
Yeah.
Understanding was a strategy.
Mhm.
But then I kept on trying to go back to my feelings. I knew that I watched that this was happening.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's
that's the skill.
eerie. It's an eerie feeling, but it's
Yes.
not I feel compassionate, except like when I hear there's some people that are getting some people up from the south and going to bring them up there and up to the north here. And I thought, well, maybe I could do that. But then even coming from that place, I just was doing a good deed, but it wasn't coming from feeling someone else, anyway, that
Not
kind of
yet.
thing.
And no demand for that, right? That's not more helpful, is to go, I should be then this way or that. It's to recognize, how am I?
Yeah. Okay.
If I can figure out how I got robbed, I can prevent it next time. Well, I left the door open. And again, I'm just using these as examples. And that doesn't mean it's not useful, but it also means we have to watch for the strategy nature. Why?
Right.
So that then I can find ground, then I can establish security. Doesn't mean I shouldn't lock my doors, and it doesn't mean I won't. We just want to make sure that we don't grab that as well, now I have resolution, the solution, right? Because then what happens? Well, you lock the door and a bad thing happened anyway. And then you go, how did this happen to me? Right? Because this is the truth, isn't it? This shouldn't be happening.
On
But this is the second time I got robbed this week. And the first time I panicked, and this time I had locked the door. The first time I hadn't. I got robbed outside.
Yeah.
And this time I again had the same reaction as the war. Like, okay, I guess if this is what's happening,
Yeah.
this is what's happening.
Yeah.
It's just that kind of feeling. I don't know. It's just,
yeah. And keep watching. Keep
okay.
watching.
Thank you, Diana.
Yeah, you stay with it, because that will not be the only experience. There'll be
sure.
a continued evolution of experience. Stay
All
with
right. Anyway,
yourself.
thank you.
You're welcome. Felicia, you wanted to say something?
No, I just was wondering if part of the not getting so emotional also was not just because she possibly was thinking, like, I knew this was gonna happen. Is it part of self-care as well as not letting yourself get too emotional? Like, how do you draw the line? Like, when is it self-care?
Self-care doesn't come with thinking. That's not the best. There is a kind of knowing, I would say, but it doesn't come then as thinking this was inevitable. I saw it, and I'm not using you again, Leslie. I'm just speaking to Felicia's inquiry. She's asking, how do you know the difference between a strategy and good self-care? And a strategy numbs us. A strategy makes us feel better. A strategy takes us up into thinking, not down into the reality of our human vulnerability. It feels for, so when you know self-care, you know how you really are. You acknowledge the distress that's there, and then you can lovingly, skillfully attend.
You could feel.
You can feel the sensations. I won't say pain, I'll say whatever's there, including numbness, including nothing, including, I can't take time with this, again, not in any way implying this about Leslie. I'm talking about the human mind, and it has a coding in it. It has a armor in it. It has a barrier. It has the capacity for separating me from the truth. It certainly makes me feel better temporarily, doesn't it? Shortly, like all good addictive device. Right? You go, well, I get it. I know how it happens. And it doesn't mean it's not true. And it doesn't mean that your understanding of the causes is not accurate. Right? They might be, but what the result is very different. When we're really telling a truth, we feel more. We can hold more. We're bigger in the truth of it, not band-aided. I'll use that word. Not cover, right? Like, what do you do? And I've done it a lot, by the way. I'm in no way. I have gone, yeah, what? I don't know how many times, and I'm recognizing it now. Wow, how many times I've heard about somebody's procedure going, well, you're going to be all right. Really? Easy for you to say, right? Nice for you. That would not be your heart with those stents. That's not your nose getting 19 stitches from a, right? That's not your kid.
I guess I'm saying like the opposite of like two.
There's no such thing. No, what is that? How do you have too much empathy? You can fall into feeling too much for yourself in it, which is I'm taking it on, but that's not empathy. That's attachment. So rather than feel for you in your experience, I'm going, whatever that's me, what about me in it? And there's an attachment element. The feeling for another is simply holding the other in the reality of, right? And recognizing, like me, you're vulnerable, but I don't fall in the well of the suffering with you, because that's not that skillful. Yeah, I can stay here in my right stability, but open-hearted. I can cry with you and not be lost. I can feel grief for another, can't we? And let grief be grief and not be lost in my grief, and really stay open to our and your experience. But that's that beautiful training, isn't it? And we learn by, guess how? Getting it wrong. Fall straight over, and oh my God, I can't bear you because I can't hold that feeling for myself, let alone for you. I got to get out of here. And then we do all kinds of things, including my number one favorite, fix. Let's fix it. I'll make you feel better. I will be reassuring. I will tell you it's going to get better. For who? Who am I talking to? That's not talking to me. That's who I'm talking to. Diane, it's going to be okay. Just breathe. Okay. Your mother's falling on the ground in grief. Oh my God. I don't know. What do you do? What do you do? Can I feel for myself first, going, well, here you are believing daughters should know, or step in or make it better, or right, some distance now from my mother. Because now I've taken the role of the daughter and the good daughter who's supposed to do something instead of be with her. And then what? If I can't be with me, I certainly can't be with her. And if I can hold me in it, going, wish I could make it better, wish I could fix it, wish I could get her not to feel what she's feeling, right? And we know in hospice training, of course, that's the worst thing you can do. Let me fix you. And then the person goes, oh, I guess I need to be fixed. This isn't okay. I shouldn't be crying, shouldn't be, right? Feeling like my heart's breaking. Yeah, it is a judgment. I can't bear you. Don't do that because you're making me feel bad. No, they're not. You're making you feel bad because you're going, I want to get some, let me get my hands around this. Let me get, right? And we all do it. Therapists are the best. Let me explain to you. Yes. Yeah.
Leslie, I just saw this strategy that I used today that helped me to stay in that place. And it was the way I used the Dharma. I thought to myself, it's impermanence. It's impermanence. So today it looks like there's a war, and tomorrow may not be a war. And so I don't want to get caught in being there. And I went to utilize this impermanence thought to
get out of it,
to separate me,
get out
from being present.
Yeah,
because
that's right. And boy, do I get that. Boy, do I get that. Right? I don't want to feel this. I don't want to be scared like this. What good would it do? We can rationalize this whole thing to death. Well, it's not, if I'm in a mess, how am I going to be available to anyone else? Well, interestingly,
Right.
It's the only way you're going to be available to anyone else is to recognize that this is scary, hard, overwhelming. And do I get to take care of myself? I do, but not with platitude, not with explanation. No, it's not going to work. Can I stay with myself underneath all of that? Ow. And the whole thing. Can I let it be? And the answer is every time I've been able to do it, right? I have been present then to my mother on the floor. What did I do? Nothing. Nothing. I got on the floor with her. That's all. What else do you do? I cry with her. What else do you do? I felt with her. What else do you do? And nobody likes it, do it. Like, oh, not that. Don't try anything else. Don't do it. Don't waste your time. Don't waste, right? You just get there and risk it. And we call that the exquisite risk of being alive, right? Me scared like this too, me not knowing too, me being afraid for my family and our well-being, and then all those others just like me who are going, I don't know how this is going to work out.
I was with my
Do you pray? Do you sense a positive intention? You put out a positive intention, and hoping that that's none of that. All right. Because that's what I started looking at.
My
Positive
wish
intentions
is
sometimes, I
always
thought.
for others to be well, and we certainly can make that offer, but not before you know the suffering. Because how do you provide the antidote if you don't know the disease? You know what I mean? Like, what's the treatment if you haven't really checked into the illness? If you haven't really been available, you're just plastering it on. And we can't do that because that never works, does it? Actually, there's some research on this, which is the doctor who walks in and just says, I know what you need this, and hands you the pill and walks out. You're not as likely to get better. by the way. Doesn't mean it's not the right pill. It means, really? I didn't even get to like say how I was. I didn't even get you to look at me in the eye going, you know, yeah, right, itchy like this, and right, and we're less likely to heal from that. Good medicine. Let me pitch you stay there, I'll throw that on over. 17 seconds.
So you don't believe in prayers for peace?
I believe in prayers for everything, but not first.
Right.
Not first. I believe you feel it first and then pray like the Dickens. Yeah, right. Greg, you wanted to say something?
I was with my granddaughter a couple weeks ago. She's getting a divorce. She's in her early 30s and has a 3-year-old, and it's just super tough. And but for so many reasons, and I went to breakfast with her, and I listened a lot, and that's pretty much what I did. And I kept hearing this voice inside of me wanting to fix it, wanting to offer her advice, because I have, been through it.
Yes, that's right.
And I kept saying, shut up.
Yeah.
And just listen.
Yeah.
And we sat there for an hour. And at the end of it, she just thanked me for just listening and hearing what she had to say and what she was going through and not judging.
Yes.
And it was hard though.
Yes, it
because
is.
I kept wanting to do something.
Why?
Why? Because I felt like I wanted to make it better.
For who?
Well, I felt for her, but probably for me. Yeah, because it's painful for me
Isn't it?
to watch it.
To watch someone you love, a granddaughter.
Yeah.
Here's a granddaughter, right? Someone that we have all those beautiful memories and experience and love. And I just want you to feel better because my heart's breaking. My heart's breaking. And we're not very tolerant, are we? None of us, of our own hearts breaking. And I'll fix you so I can feel better. And I don't want you to be suffering either. That's not true. And I want to fix you because being with this is hard.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's hard. It makes me sad. It makes me recollect. It makes me my own heart break. And can we tolerate and be willing to be that tender? And the answer is we are capable. By the way, we are capable. But we've got to put all those strategies away first.
So so you see that people are bringing food, so you are helping fix it a little bit. But you don't understand, so what point are you able to offer help?
So Felicia's saying, so do you just show up and feel and not do anything? No. You show up and you feel, and then all the things that come from that will be right. Yeah. That's right. That's right. Can't you? That's right. That's right. How can I serve? How can I be of benefit? What might be the right thing? And right?
One of the things I did for her was I gave her some cash, and she broke.
And probably very, very afraid of being broke.
And it just came out of me. I said, here,
Yeah.
I need this.
Yes. But not without listening first.
No.
Right. And after listening, what we know is everything you do is perfect. But we've got to show up to listen first. We don't just throw food or medicine or, right? We're pretty good at weapons, we might add. We throw a lot of those. We're very good. Here, take a couple AR. Use those, see what you can. Right. But really, it's not the first action. Acting is not the first action. Being and then being with are the first two. And then whatever you do from there, feed everybody. Feed everybody. But feed them not from the habit, feed them from the heart of that, which is I know. And I can also, by contact with you, I see that this will truly be of benefit. When I ask people who I'm engaging with what they most want or need, food does not usually come up. Doesn't mean it's not true, but it is not the first thing. Is it? No. It's just hear me, be with me, see me, recognize me as human, and also in this human endeavor. And then whatever else we do, again, whatever that is. But don't believe that there's any amount of food you're going to give that's going to fix the human condition. And yes, we do it. And clothes, and you're right. It's all good. But watch it. Because the other's harder. Isn't it? Just listening's harder because your own heart's going to break. And that's good. It's good because you're going to get more tender. You're going to cry more. You're going to feel more. You're going to act more then too. Because you could not respond, could you then? You couldn't not. Whatever that is, you might have access to. And we all have our own unique, right, responses. Right. My father once handed me about, I don't know, maybe $20 bills. This was the year he was dying. And we pulled up to he saw a homeless, our unsheltered friends encampment. And he gave me the money. He said, go down there and give everybody this money. And I was like, really? You want me to climb down there into that thing and start handing out money and hope I live to get back up the hill? And he looked at me like, what? And I went, Dad, right? And he went, And I went down the hill and I put the money in the backpack. And it's still one of the most important days of my life. Still. That I went beyond myself. That I risked it. And it was $20, not $2,000. It's $20. But my whole heart was in it. And I had to get bigger. Really, in the discomfort, really, of going. Now I'm not just afraid for me, I'm afraid for everybody now. And we finally break open. And it's always good. Why don't we sit together for a few more minutes? And next Saturday, just to say before we ring the bell that we'll be in retreat from Tuesday silent, Wednesday silent retreat at Quest Haven, Thursday, Friday, Saturday are all going to be guided. Saturday, we will be ending about 1 o'clock because I have a charity event I am contributing to that I will have to get to. So if you can't come for a whole day, but you can come for part of a day, Saturday would be a good day. And we have commuter options. You don't have to stay over. You don't have to, you can stay for as long as you like. And so finding our way back into that open heart, again, as Chogyam says, the shaky tenderness of being alive. And we don't have to cover it. We don't have to get rid of it. It's not that useful. Better to feel it. And then we breathe right into the heart space. And we follow that out breath. We soften the shoulders. We release the arms. We settle the buttocks. We get into our seat, into this human body. And see how we are.
Mm.
And we begin our training once again. Feeling the release of the out breath, resting in the pause, and opening. No thoughts required, and completely wholehearted. With each out breath, we drop the weapons, we put down the armor, and we recognize our humanness. And we feel for ourselves in that essential tenderness. And then we breathe out and open, and we feel for the tenderness, the beauty, the strength, the courage, the vulnerability, the tenacity, the capacity of all beings. May we dedicate the merits, the blessings, the benefits, all the good, all the dukkha, and its wisdom to the end of suffering and the realization of true abiding happiness and freedom. And it does not come separate from the truth of suffering, but by moving closer. May we offer these blessings to ourselves, to our loved ones, to those in the Sangha, in the community, town, the village, the north side, the south side. Growing ever bigger to include the whole of the world and beyond. And may we all be happy. May we all be free from pain and suffering. May we all have ease and well-being, including shelter and food and friends and safety. And can we all remember then who we really are? The truth of our nature and the willingness to struggle, willingness to be tender, the willingness to not know, the willingness to not have the answer, the willingness to be a part of this unresolvable human life. Until the end of suffering, the end of greed, the end of hatred, the end of delusion. For all beings. So be. Thank you all. Thank you all so much for your practice. I look forward to seeing you, hopefully sometime next week. Tomorrow we will be on Zoom at 7:15 with Gina and somebody. If you're going to be on tomorrow and would like to read the dedication, please let me know. We will be on tomorrow and Monday, and Tuesday will be our last day of the 30-day challenge. Thank you all so much for that as well. That has been a wonderful opportunity to be together, to practice together some every day. Bev, it's so good to see you on there. I know you've been out and about, and Leslie, you as well. May you and all beings there be safe and well. Also, we are all holding you, thinking of you, and wishing for your safety. All right, everyone. See you tomorrow morning at 7:15. I'll be at Mom's house. Or maybe I'll get her on. It'd be pretty fun. See you then.